Hey guys, it's been a while, but I do hope you're doing well. So, before I decided to throw myself into art school chaos, I did promise a series of drawing Disney princesses as magical girls, which, no, I'm not abandoning, I promise, okay? But, in case you haven't seen my last video, then I'll link it to you in the description for later, okay? Watch this one first. But, just warning you, there's gonna be some old art. This lineup is going to look so inconsistent, but, you know what? I've left you waiting long enough. I'm not gonna redo all of them, okay? That's just too much for even me. So without further ado, let's just jump into it. Continuing from where we left off, the next princess in the lineup is Jasmine. So growing up in the 2000s, the Renaissance princesses are really my bread and butter, and I'm pretty sure I wore down my Aladdin VHS tape and the subsequent DVD release to the point of no return. Oddly enough though, as much as I love the movie, Jasmine's never been one of my favorite princesses. Like, she's awesome, don't get me wrong. She's just never stuck out to me as much as the rest of her supporting cast. Look, Robin Williams was the real star, and even as kids we all knew it. But regardless, I have always loved how headstrong of a character she is without lacking that emotional depth. She has flaws. There are problems in her kingdom she's ignorant of, and meeting Aladdin is one of the catalysts that opens up her worldview. The live action seems to shovel these character traits into her wanting to be Sultan, which is a really cool concept, don't get me wrong, I'm all for it, just that live action was very poorly executed, and any good idea it has is just soiled with so much else. I'm biased. I'm very, very biased. So, regardless, for her magical girl design, I did take the most inspiration from her iconic teal dress, but I did use a smidge of that purple outfit she wears for the back train piece. Of course, everything needed to be super, super sparkly, as, you know, magical girls dictate. I think it's put into law at this point, but I wanted to really convey that sense of luxury, so yeah. For Jasmine's weapons, I decided on dual scimitars with a peacock motif, and I really love the contrast of making her design, again, both like luxurious and dangerous, to show that contrast in her character. Anyways, here's Jasmine's design all finished, and let's just move on to the next one. Okay, next in release order is Pocahontas, and admittedly she was actually the princess I worked on last in this lineup because, to be honest, I was kind of dreading her. This character carries a lot of the Disney company's poor choices on her shoulders, and having been based on a real poet and woman whose life was hardly a fairy tale. Look, I'm not gonna give you a history lesson because honestly, look at the title. You came for light and breezy, Sailor Moon, Love and BS, and really, not my place to insert myself into this conversation anyways. Not my culture to claim, and also, let's face it, we don't have any other indigenous representation in the Disney princess lineup anyways. So, you know, all that being said, if you do genuinely love this character, wherever you fall on her, I do hope you enjoy my reimagining of her. I am doing my best, and none of this is supposed to be historically accurate. Again, light and breezy, Sailor Moon, Love and BS, all fantasy. Very fun. So, getting into it, for her actual outfit, I was super inspired by the Enchantix transformation in Winx Club. Yes, Winx Club, I know, I have a problem, okay, I love it. But the aesthetic of the winding vines they use in the Enchantix shoes, like, it was so hard not to include that here. I had to, okay? Legally obligated. Plus, Grandmother Willow, it fits so well. Willow trees, I grew up with one personally that I always used to weave into little crowns and stuff. I love them. Flowering leaves. Look, this aesthetic wrote itself for me. And, you know, who am I if to deny a amazing aesthetic? She's also the only princess I am not giving a weapon to, because I think the leaves kind of symbolize that already, but like, giving her a physical weapon is also kind of contradictory to the themes of the movie. So, you know, let me know what you think. What would you have given her in my place if you were to? I like the leaves, but, you know, I tried my best. I kept going back and forth on whether I wanted to split her dress into a two-piece, just for more visual interest. Like, obviously, as you can see, fashion won over. My jokes aside, here is the finished design, and I do hope you like what I came up with. I tried my best, and I think she looks pretty cool. Anyways, on to the next one. Next up, we have Mulan. So Mulan's actually pretty cool, as she is considered a legendary figure of Chinese myth and history. Like, was she real? Maybe, who knows? So for her design, I opted for a longer dress with a mix of both her matchmaker look and green outfit. Mulan's character battles between both her masculine and feminine identities so flawlessly, so I tried to have a decent mix of both. For those unfamiliar with the magical girl genre, one of its biggest themes is not having to conform to masculine ideals in order to be powerful physically or emotionally. Like, you can totally fight evil in a tutu and heels and no one can tell you differently. And I think I'd be doing Mulan a disservice if I stuck her in a tutu, but you know, character integrity is still important to me, regardless of my own personal fashion choices. So I did take some inspiration from Irina Doan from Mermaid Melody, who has that perfect mix, which you can probably see in the silhouette of this dress. I opted for a short bob haircut because personally I think it's the most iconic and does tend to go underutilized by Disney's own branding. Like, I get it. Brushing doll hair is a very therapeutic thing to do, but short hair is also a nice switch up from time to time. Mattel just needs to hire me at this point. I am so chock full of good ideas, and the first thing to go will be those printed on bathing suit dolls, okay? For her weapon, of course, I had to give her the signature sword she has in the movie, and although I did debate it, I ultimately had to give a nod to Mushu here, so now it's a flame sword. That's cool, right? Personally, I did tend to avoid giving the Disney girls too many elemental associations, except where it really fit, because I really enjoyed Madoka Magica and how the girls had individual themes that relate to their wishes, but then Magia Record kinda stomped on that world building for me with their combat system. Like, I get it, it's a gacha game, you need to make a really simplistic combat system, and elemental interactions are like the most basic thing you can do, but like, I feel like it was such a limitation for long-term world building. Anyways, my random gripe aside, she's fire now. Mulan is now fire, okay? It works. Anyways, she is done. I hope you like Mulan, and let's get out of the Renaissance and into some modern princesses, shall we? Okay, next in the order is Tiana, and she is the outlier of the group and just tends to fall in between eras since she is the last 2D animated princess, but she also came out long after Disney's Renaissance had ended. So I tend to group her with the modern era since she came out after 2000 and was actually the first Disney princess movie I got to see debut in theaters, which is really cool. So naturally she does have a very special place in my heart, and even though she's not my top 3 favorites, she does get an honorable mention. Now, if you see this speed paint jumping back and forth continuity wise, I redid her entire drawing partway through. Okay, I was not happy with her pose or her face, and it just did not scream Tiana to me. She's got much more of a mature demeanor than I originally drew, and I think the second try captured her much better, but I did save some of my work from the original, so you might see some weird copy and paste or video cuts. I'm working on it. The next video in this series is going to have a bit of a switch up from my previous speed paint style because it's not working anymore, so you won't have the jumping. Bit of a change up. Anyways, regardless. So yeah, she is a mess of editing, but like, okay, I made up for it with the dress, okay? We were deprived of poofy dresses in this series for too long, and Tiana's ball gown truly delivers that princess magic for me. So, similar to Pocahontas, I opted for the vine and water lily motifs. I just really like that kind of design, okay? It's one of my guilty pleasures. So I really wanted to hammer home that Bayou association, and I know Tiana is also more associated with fireflies, but I did give her a Luna moth on her staff because, again, aesthetics won over. I tried to play with like natural and artificial textures for her staff and rendering the gold of the flower and those gossamer wings. I had a lot of fun with this one. This is just one of those movies that still has that magic to me, probably due to the age I was when it first came out, so you know, I think I captured it pretty well, but I do hope you like her. Here is Tiana's final design, and let's move on to the next one. Last but not least for this batch, we have Rapunzel, and as hinted in the last section, she's actually the final addition to my top 3, Cinderella, Ariel, and Rapunzel. Look, I like the ones with parental issues. What can I say? I am a simple woman. Anyways, with Rapunzel's design, I did opt to leave her hair unbraided. I know it's less detailed than those flowers, but this was the most impressive thing for CG animation back in the day, and honestly, it still, like, totally wows me, even watching the movie with everything, like, technologically that's progressed. It's the hair, okay? The hair gets me. So I grew up with the Barbie Rapunzel movie. That was like my version of Rapunzel as a kid, and also still my favorite Barbie movie for those who are curious. And I always adored the idea of having like unreasonably long hair. And Tangled really captured that magic, so like it's no wonder to me that she's one of the more popular princesses these days. Like, I genuinely think if she wasn't the team's designated healer, she would have topped Elsa for Halloween costume popularity. Like, it's hard to beat ice powers, but like 70 feet of hair certainly makes a good effort. I think that's also like the draw for Isabella when Encanto was really popular. Why Isabella was so popular, like flower powers, ice powers, okay? It's not rocket science to figure out like little girls want magic powers. We are all destined to have a witchy phase, okay? I can't control it. It's just baked into our DNA. So, for Rapunzel's dress, I opted for a shorter Sailor Moon style skirt. Since she is very bright and bubbly, I thought this would just kind of complement her personality. So I worked my way through the design from there. Rapunzel also has like one of my favorite dresses, maybe barring Giselle's pink outfit. So I did have a lot of fun. I love that kind of milkmaid, princessy, pinky, not peasant dress obviously, but like that kind of subtle princess. I love it. So my rendition of her is that simple, sweet, energetic, bubbly. I just wanted to incorporate as much of her personality into her outfit as I could. And naturally, I had to incorporate the sun drop as a brooch. Look, if you haven't seen Tangled the series, it is such a trip. Highly recommend that rabbit hole. It's got quite a few filler episodes. Like, I think it's a Disney Junior show, but like, look, it's a trip. It's got like a weird demon Rapunzel in it, and I don't know what to tell you. It's just a whole thing. You gotta watch it and just decide for yourself, because I don't know how to feel about it, but the soundtrack is really good. Anyways, enough rambling. Here is the final design, and I hope you like her. Okay, that is the end of this batch, and it has been an absolute joy drawing these girls. And I'm not quite done with this series yet, so thank you if you've made it this far, and make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss when I post the next batch. So yeah, if you haven't seen the first video already, here it is. Weird, you better click that, it looks important. Anyways, thank you so much to everyone on Patreon who supports me. This year has been crazy, starting out university, art school, and you know, student loans be expensive. Thank you guys so much for everything, and have a great day. See ya!